Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is Great Days. Today's video is the grid, and I'm going to be discussing the grid system, how it works, the phases. I'm going to be simplifying it, and I'm going to clarify it for everybody so we can come to one understanding. And when we bring it in videos, everybody will be on one wavelength. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The grid is an electrical energy system that everybody in societies, mostly Western civilization and Eastern civilization, use to power most of their technologies and mechanistics, and to heat their homes, to cool their food, to power their cars. All this is dependent upon electricity, and the grid is the system that generates this, transmits it, distributes it, and we use it. So the first phase, or the first stage of the grid, first of all, it consists of 3 or 4, but I'm gonna make it even simpler for y'all. It is consisting of 3 different stages. The first stage is generation. So the first stage is all about generating that electricity, that electrical energy, through different farming systems. There's 4 farming systems within the stage of generation. The 4 different farming systems are power plants. This is 1. We all know what power plants are. 2 is hydro dams. We all know what dams are. This is electrical energy generated from water. 3 is solar farms, solar panels. This is sunlight energy, more of a plant style of generating electrical energy. And 4 is wind turbines, windmills. These are using wind, element wind, to generate electrical energy. So with these 4 different farms, we are able to generate electrical energy and store it and stockpile it. And once we are able to generate electrical energy, then comes stage 2, being the grid consists of 3. Stage 2 is all about taking this generated electrical energy and transmissioning it to substations and generators through power lines. And these substations and generators are basically meant to amplify the voltage of the electrical energy. So basically, from the first stage, which is generation of the electrical energy, It's then transmission through power lines to substations, which main per, which is main's which main's purpose, which their main purpose is to amplify, okay, and bring up the voltage to a high state of electrical fluctuation. And after this amplification process takes place in the substations, which it was transmission there via power lines, it is then taken from the substations after the amplification process and then transmission through power lines again to distribute itself through the neighborhoods and cities. And this is also being transmissioned through means of power lines. And there's uses of generators and whatnot every other power line to store a certain amount of that electrical energy. Like a battery, the generators on the power lines, those gray cylinders, they're like batteries. They're for holding a certain amount of electrical energy, aka voltage, for a certain amount of poles or power lines. And each one of those batteries or generators is being accounted for and projecting a certain amount of electrical energy into each block, okay, with multiple houses. And then there's the larger gray generators that you see around schools and businesses and facilities and whatnot. These are for holding even more because they're a bigger battery, like the big square batteries to the little AA batteries. Same thing. It's fractal. It's as above, so below. It's literally the same thing. These bigger generators are bigger batteries holding more voltage and more electrical energy, and they're used for powering even more bigger things such as schools and big businesses and organizations and facilities and things of this places of this nature. So yeah, that's the second stage. After the first stage, which is generation of electrical energy, it is then going into the second stage, which is transmission and distribution of this electrical energy into the neighborhoods after a process of amplifying its voltage via substations. Then, after it transmissions itself and distributes itself throughout the desired locations, which is cities and houses in multiple different places, it is then going into stage 3, which is the last stage of the grid system. This is consumerism. Basically, the last stage is making way for the people who are dependent upon this electrical energy to use it. Basically, the third stage is us using or consuming this electrical producing. And yeah, we are very dependent on it nowadays. Like I said, our cars run off of it. Our entire houses run off of it. This laptop right now is running off of it. let me see. I can look in front of me and see something that is running off of it right now. There's a light right there that's running off of it. There's even a generator on that pole, which is holding a certain amount of voltage to surge it through these power lines to power this home. There is a unit for air conditioning right there, central air conditioning. That is basically like a generator, but mixed with another type of technology to bring about air conditioning or the surging of the entire house's unit or system. My bad. Um, yeah, everything is running off of this electrical energy, and that's basically consuming their electrical energy and us being dependent upon their electrical energy. And yeah, that's the grid. Simply explained for you. There's 3 stages. The first stage is generation, 4 means of generating this electrical energy: hydro dams, windmills, power plants, and the last was it was windmills, hydro dams, power plants, and solar panels. Then, after generating that electrical energy, they transmission it to substations to amplify its power, its voltage, and then they transmission it back via power lines again to generators to hold it, to then distribute it further through more power lines and more generators to power the home so you can consume it and use it and produce more because they're in demand now. But thank you for tuning in to this simple explanation of me clarifying up the grid, and we will eventually make it more spiritual and understanding, because there's a lot of ways you can project your astral body through the grid system and use it as a means of traveling to other places. But this is all for the higher knowledges. Like I said, I'm going to get into this. Thank you for tuning in again. Right here, subscribe, drop a like, touch upon this video, and if you're into the grid, then generate your own electrical energy, because we are capable of this. If you can see it, you're in a higher vibrational state. Thank you.